let's just try and be upbeat this time, I think, because we do have a tendency to moan a lot.
We're always upbeat. What are you talking about?
Well, fair enough. I had an idea. I think we should talk about why high ticket remote closing or sales in general is a very good idea to learn, especially if you are trying to take control of your life, your earnings, your time, freedom. You can go and start a business, highly risky, highly takes a lot of time, depending what you're doing. The reality of remote closing is you need to learn how to say words better, which sounds pretty easy to me in theory. What do you think? Do you think that's a good topic?
I think that's a great topic. Let's talk about that.
Let's slam it.
So,
Go.
okay, you from your side of the table, why start with why sales is a good skill to learn?
Why sales is a good skill to learn. Everything in life, you could make an argument for sales is not going to hurt it. Your ability to navigate difficult situations. I remember my partner got really annoyed with me because when I first
can't
went
imagine that.
from, but yeah, that's just a daily basis. But when I first went from selling face to face to remote sales, I used to practice on her. I practiced my sales on her. So if she had something that she was struggling with, whereas before I'd maybe just tell her what I thought the problem was, I'd just be like, tell me more. When you say that, what do you mean? And it took her all of about 2 hours to go, why the fuck are you asking me questions like this? Pattern recognition, we talk about it, but it's a very interesting experiment. When you understand sales and psychology, how many different areas of your life that you can apply it to. You think about, conflict resolution. If you're the sort of person who maybe, you have the tendency to be a little bit aggressive in certain situations, sales can help with that. Just taking a step back, asking questions, understanding people's perspectives. That's one thing. You're always selling yourself, whether you're going to a job interview, even if you decide sales isn't for you. Interviewing for anything, talking to people, getting a coffee for free at Costa. If you really wanted to, learn sales, challenge yourself. You never know. Just asking for more things. I'm going down a rabbit hole. What do you think?
Mate, I agree. I think sales is one of the oldest professions in the world. And a lot of people say that the oldest profession in the world is prostitution. But
Only on a Saturday.
fair.
Sales Monday to Friday. Prostitution on a
Prostitution
Saturday.
at the weekend. Okay, good. But before you can, what have you got to do if you want to prostitute yourself out? You've got to be able to sell yourself. So I think sales is the oldest profession. And to your point, sales is something that most people, in fact, now I'll go out on a limb here. Everybody uses sales in their life. They just don't get paid for it. Prime example is, let's say the wife wants to go and have Chinese food tonight. And I'm not really in the mood for Chinese. I would rather have a nice Balti. I've got to sell her on why it's better to go to the Balti house than it is to go to the Chinese restaurant, right? So everybody, if you analyze it, is already involved in sales in some capacity. It's just a lot of people don't get paid for it. And to touch on your previous point, here's the title of the podcast is why remote high ticket is the best income opportunity in 2025. When you start a business, number one, you've got the risk, right? Like you said, 90, I think the stats are 95% of all businesses, maybe even 98, fact check, I'll need to Google it. A very high proportion of all businesses in their first 12 months fail. And if you've put time and effort and money and grit and guts and grind into that business, it essentially becomes all for nothing. And not only that, when you take all of these other income opportunities online, right? You've got Amazon FBA, you've got drop shipping, you've got affiliate marketing, you've got, whatever. The reason I think high ticket trumps all of them is because there's so much you have to learn to do any of those. If you're going to do drop shipping, for example, it isn't as simple as all of that because you're going to have to run ads. So you've got to learn copywriting. You've got to learn ad creative. You've got to learn to navigate Meta's business dashboard, which is like, you nearly need a PhD for that anyway. Then you're going to have to learn about sourcing and inventory and spreadsheets and tracking and distribution. And do you know what I mean? X and Y and Z. And there's so much complexity to each and every business. And I know all of the marketers out there make it seem like it's going to be, yeah, you'll make $1 gajillion by tomorrow. You will not. Like, absolutely freaking not. It will take you way longer to learn the skill set of dropshipping, Amazon FBA, anything like that, than it will remote high ticket. And the reason for that is because remote high ticket, number one, is already in super high demand. All of the businesses that have already taken the risk and set themselves up and now have good lead flow and people coming through the funnel and people wanting to buy their stuff need to outsource their sales. So there's already demand off the chart. And the second reason is you only have to learn one skill. You just have to learn one thing. You just have to learn the skill set of sales rather than sales, marketing, copywriting, distribution, X, Y, Z. Like, it takes years to get good at all of that stuff. Whereas you can become pretty proficient in probably 60 to 90 days and start doing a good job, start closing deals. And if you're on an offer that has a $10,000 package, you're paid a 10% commission. That's $1,000 per sale. Make 10 sales in a month. That's 10K for you. That's why I think high ticket is the best income opportunity. Do you have anything else to add to that, mate?
Contrast it. You think of an online fitness coach. You think of their day to day, everything they have to do as the business owner. They have to go to the gym. They have to shoot their content. They have to manage the team. They have to worry about email funnels, all that sort of stuff. And let's say they make £100,000 a month revenue. Well, if they've got a team of 3 closers, they're paying a marketer, they're paying for ads and funnels and everything, they're probably left with, I don't know, what's an average margin, would you say?
I mean, if you listen to the gurus, they'll tell you 30%, but honestly, I know people out there scraping 15.
Okay. So if you think about it, that business owner has had to earn 100,000 in revenue with all of that stress, all of that time commitment, everything that goes into being the business owner to take 15
before tax.
You, having done absolutely none of that work, taking 6, 7, 8 calls a day, could make the same amount of money as the business owner you are working for. Or not for, plus minus a couple of thousand as the closer.
Sitting in your pants on Zoom.
Sitting in your pants on Zoom.
You ever sold sitting in your pants?
Yeah, all the time.
You ever sold?
I haven't even got pants on right now.
It's
just all flapping around underneath.
That was going to be my second question. You ever sold a deal naked?
Not naked, but no, let's stay on topic. Hang on.
We'll
bring it back.
Nearly went south then.
Yeah. So your ability to earn a lot of money very quickly by doing, I'm not going to say a very little amount of work. We both know that the people that are actually successful in the world of remote high ticket sales are absolute savages.
Yeah.
They are the people that show up daily. Doesn't matter how many months, years worth of experience they have got, they have never stopped learning.
Yeah.
They show up, they dedicate themselves to it. This is not something that you can ever get complacent in.
I agree.
Right? So we're not saying, okay, if you're too lazy to start a business, you don't want to do work, learn high ticket sales, it's easy. That's not what we're saying. You do have to be good.
Yeah. I agree with that. Skill set is everything. But if you've only got that one skill set to learn,
go all in. What stops you from reading the books? There are 1,000,001 books on sales. Let's say you are starting today. You're looking at, how can I escape the 9 to 5 rat race? How can I start building a high income skill? Even if you are flat broke, you've got a couple £100, £1,000 to your name. What, gap selling? 15 quid on Amazon? That's a good place to start. right? Go and search sales books. Go to a library. Go on Spotify and start listening to podcasts. It costs you, it's a very low barrier to entry to start learning. Once you've got a bit more skill, bit more time, bit more money, whatever it might be, find people that can mentor you. Us, for example, $97 a month to learn high ticket sales. Contrast that to starting a business. What's the average business setup going to be? Even if you were an online fitness coach, all right, it doesn't cost you a lot to set up Instagram profiles and YouTube and all that sort of stuff. There's a big time commitment to making content. So that's one thing. If you want to start email marketing, running ads, generating traffic without having to sit there cold outbound DMing, there's money there. That racks up very quickly, especially in today's landscape. You've got to pay to play if you want to win.
Just software costs alone, mate.
Software.
Right? Zoom
Yeah.
subscription, what, $30-$40 a month? Loom subscription, $30-$40 a month.
Yeah.
ClickFunnels subscription, I don't know, $100 a month.
Yeah.
You know, you're up to $200 a month immediately just in a couple of pieces of software, and then there's going to be other stuff, right? Then you're talking about meta ads. Well, you know, one of the richest men on the planet is Zucks, right? And it's becoming harder and harder to run those ads because there's more advertisers than ever, which is driving the cost of each lead through the roof. And like we've said, because of skepticism, the show up rates are lower, and you know, X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
There's so much complexity to it, man. Whereas
So
here,
much complexity.
one skill, just get good at having meaningful conversations.
You don't even need to pay to learn. Although we have spoken about this before, face-to-face isn't all that transferable. No, it is transferable. It's definitely a different skill set to learn remote high ticket sales.
Yeah.
But what we always talk about, a lot of it comes back to is conviction and communication. Just being able to communicate at a high level.
Yeah.
You can learn communication. I started off in hospitality, working in pubs and bars, just talking to packed out pubs and bars full of people. Go work in hospitality, learn how to talk better, or go and get a sales job. There are plenty of entry level face-to-face sales jobs where you can go in, you can learn the basics, learn the communication, and then it does transfer over. We are going down some absolute sidestepping all over the place. What was the title of this podcast again? Why remote fighting?
The best income opportunity 2025.
The best income opportunity. Let's tie it back. So we've both had businesses outside of sales. I had a valeting business for a short period of time. That cost me, for what is a relatively simple business, right? You think you're going around cleaning cars. That cost me, before I outsourced it and employed people, £3,000, £4,000, £5,000 for a basic setup. Now I reclaimed it very, very quickly because I was valeting cars at like £500 doing machine polishing and ceramic coats. So it took me all of a couple of months to reclaim it. If you haven't got £5,000 to start in the first place, you're shit out of luck there. Let's think of other business models that are big in, 2025. Automation. Okay, sounds good. I'm going to set up some chatbots. I'm going to send them to business owners for £5,000. Well, if you're not a technical person, good luck with that. You've got to learn coding. You've got to learn, and you've got to learn sales on top of that.
Yeah, because it's
pick up the phone and cold call and, get clients.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Even if you start one of those businesses, don't think for a second you're not going to have to learn sales and marketing.
Yeah, look at drop shipping. All right, you've got to source the products. You've got to set up your Shopify store. You've got to learn copywriting. You've got to learn different skills to go alongside that.
Yep.
What other business models are big? What can we think of for people starting up?
I mean, affiliate marketing, that's touted as one of the easiest income opportunities. But,
yeah,
even the people that teach organic affiliate marketing, well, organic is a skill. Organic marketing is a skill. Yeah, all right. It doesn't cost you anything. You're not running ads. But, man, you've got to understand copywriting. You've got to understand how to create a hook. You've got to understand the story arc. And that's going to take time to learn. And it's not going to be a 10-day turnaround. It's going to take time.
Yeah. Now, bringing it back to high ticket sales, I'm going to go out on a limb here. If you really wanted to, 30 days, you could be pretty good.
You'd have to throw down though.
If you came in and threw down in 30 days, you could be, all right, I won't say pretty, I'll say semi good. If you really, every single day, 2 hours blocked out on the calendar, week one, you get the foundations. Week two, you start practicing, you start role playing, you build up, and you commit 2 hours a day. I guarantee with the right training in 30 days, you could be pretty good. In 30 days, you could maybe start outreaching to jobs. 60 to 90 days, you could be in a role. Okay. You contrast that with your first 4 weeks of starting any other business. Well, I guarantee week 1 to 2, you probably sit there just spinning your wheels, filling up notepads, smashing ideas through ChatGPT. How do I do this? What do I need to learn next? How do I set up this thing? Where do I source this? And you'll probably end up doing 2 days worth of work in about 2 weeks. Because whereas sales, you get the right people. There are so many people that want to learn it. There are so many communities. There's so many support networks. You can come in, you can learn very quickly.
Yeah.
And then in 30 days' time, let's say you had a skill set of a £3,000 a month closer. Well, for most people, that's going to replace their 9 to 5 income.
Yeah.
A £3,000 a month in the world of remote high ticket closing would get you laughed at by the top guys, because that does mean you're crap. But if you could learn a £3,000 a month skill inside of 30 days, to the average person escaping the 9 to 5 rat race, that's fucking amazing.
Yeah. I think for a lot of people, and this is true of business owners as well, a lot of people, it's not that they necessarily want the Lambo. I know, I know that's a goal for some, but for most people, it's actually, dude, I just want some freedom. I want to be able to not look at the prices on the menu when I go to a nice restaurant. I want to not have to worry when I hear the letterbox go that it's going to be a red bill and I'm not going to be able to pay it. I want to not have to worry that the car's going to need 4 new tires and I can't afford it. Like if you could just alleviate that stress for people so that they could live a comfortable life, for the vast majority of people, that's freedom. That is freedom.
100%. I said this to a business owner that I was talking to the other day. They are targeting beginners with their offer, and they're talking about how you can make 10 to 20,000 a month. And I think the same when I see closers content talking about this is how I close £50,000 a month, $50,000 a month. And it's like, okay, just think about relatability. For someone who is looking to learn this skill, they're a beginner. Do they care about their first 10,000 a month? Well, if they're used to making £1,982 after tax, that's what they see come into the bank every single month on the 29th, the 30th, the 31st, or the 1st, whenever they get paid. Talk to them about making their first £5,000 month. That is attainable. That is achievable. That's something that I click through going, dude, that's like double my income right now.
Yeah.
10K is 4 times my income. Even that is like, nah, I can't do that.
Yeah.
20 years stuck making this amount of money and then I'm going to make 10K? Don't believe it. Okay, well, that sounds like I could.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound completely implausible.
But Josh, that stuff doesn't look good on Instagram, does it?
I know.
You've got to be dude, we've seen it all, right? You go from, I'll show you how to make 10K in 30 days, or I'll show you how to be a 50K a month closer. I'll show you how I got to 100K months. And it's like, spare me. Fucking spare me.
Yeah, I know. But again, we talked about this the other day. It's that there are so many people that sell a lifestyle. And yes, that's great for virality and clicks and a small amount of people that will buy a high ticket program. We know, because of what you do with your own marketing, with your clients, trust sells.
Big time.
That's why every coach, consultant, whatever you offer, their first post that they have pinned to their Instagram should be about me. It should be a connection story. There should be a, catalyst point in that post. This is where everything changed for me.
Yep.
Something that the audience buys into, something that they resonate. I used to be stuck in the 9 to 5. When I left, I got a £50 gift voucher that told me 15 years worth of corporate slaving away was worth a $50 gift voucher. Oh, hang on. I'm 6 years in. I feel underappreciated. Let's listen more to this.
Yeah.
That's what people will actually, the vast majority of people will buy into. Not, here's my Lamborghini. But I drive a Vauxhall Corsa. I don't give a shit about your Lamborghini. Scroll.
Yeah.
That person, that's me. I see that. I resonate with that. We are going down a rabbit hole. Why is high ticket sales the best earning opportunity in 2025? Oh, we went
Because
back
of
to
that.
that moaning realm that we said we don't do a lot. But
Well,
it's
I don't
just,
think we didn't go full whinge.
no,
We
we
just
didn't go
had a little
forward.
grizzle.
This is just, I think what we have something inside of our group called a Fuck It Friday, where we just shoot the shit. Quite often, these podcasts are turning into
Fuck it,
fucking
Friday.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday repeat. But I like that. Why else? Why else is it the best earning opportunity? So we've talked about there are low barriers to entry. It can be low cost. However, caveat that with the fact there are people that take the piss, which is 99% of why we do what we do. We've talked about you can get good very quickly. What else should we throw in there?
Location freedom.
Location freedom. Yeah, but then we're going to start moaning about the Instagram people again, talking about how they're doing it on the golf course and in the pools. Let's stay strategic. Location freedom.
Well, yeah. So hence the title remote closing. Essentially,
Yeah.
so long as you have an internet connection and a laptop,
Uh-huh.
you can close from anywhere.
Yeah.
That again, for most people, it's like, well, if I was making okay money, I could go and rent an Airbnb for a month in Spain.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can do that. A good friend of mine literally has traveled the world for the last 6 years. He's lived in Mexico, he's lived in Colombia, he's lived in Europe, he's lived in the States and Canada, and just he's literally done nothing but, "Oh, I fancy going here. I'm going to go and rent an Airbnb for a month and I'm just going to work from that Airbnb." And he's traveled the world,
Yeah.
So you can do it, which does look good on Instagram.
It does look good on Instagram. But again, we have to add nuance to this. If you want to build this into a long-term career, do not take I can travel the world as a selling point. That is an outcome of you being good. You putting the input in to afford yourself that lifestyle. If you're thinking, I can earn £5 a month, I can work 3 or 4 hours a day, and I'm going to go party up in Ibiza for 3 months, and then I'm going to go to Mexico, you're taking what we're saying completely wrong.
Yeah.
Go and rent the Airbnb for 3 months, work your 9 till 5, 9 till 6 normal hours, then go out and enjoy and explore the beautiful part of the world that you live in of an evening and the weekends, rather than just being stuck in London, where, well, I should have said, no, we'll cut that out. Not giving away where we live or anything.
The Southwest.
Somewhere in England.
Here's another thing, right? This is I need to discuss this, right?
Go on.
Because there's a curse that comes with making your first dollars. And dude, I've seen this curse and I've been guilty of this curse. And this curse is when you start to make money, you start to ball out of control. You will take lavish holidays and you will buy freaking Gucci handbags and Rolex watches and all of this kind of stuff because you're like, mate, I've made it. Let's say you get good, you find a good offer, you start making 15, 20 racks a month. Do you know what I mean? Temptation to start balling and document your balling on Instagram is super tempting, right?
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how many people I have seen start balling and then the next month the ad account for the business owner gets shut down or an Instagram page gets shut down or whatever, and their lead flow goes to zero. Only now you have no reserves to live off. So you've got to scramble to find another position. And so the piece of advice I give to every single closer that I teach, that you teach, that we teach collectively is when you start making some decent cheddar, for fuck's sake, put some of it in the bank. Bank it, because you never know what's around the corner. And it is not uncommon for ad accounts to get shut down and your lead flow to go to zero. So you're flying high for months and months, and then all of a sudden you realize you've spent all your cash, only now you've got no lead flow. And it is so important to be financially sensible in this job role. So important. Because if you manage to accrue yourself 20, 30, 40 grand in the bank and the account goes to zero, you're like, I'm good. I got time. I'll give the owner maybe a few weeks, see if they figure it out. If they do, great. If not, I'll start looking around for another position. So unless you're making like real fuck you money, be sensible, bank a load of cash and give yourself healthy reserves so that if the worst does happen, you don't go immediately back into panic mode. And dude, I cannot tell you how many times I've seen people just be like, spend, look at me go. And then all of a sudden an ad account gets shut down. And then they're asking me for a fucking loan. It's like, dude, what?
From personal experience, it can also start a lot lower than making 10 to 15,000 a month. If you have gone from a career of you've got to be in an office 9 to 5, and then you go into the remote world, even making your first £2,000 month, and I'm putting this to the side because this will apply to a lot of people. As a business owner, starting your own business, seeing your first bit of success, that big dick energy, that ego can creep in very, very quickly. And I started my first business when I was 18, and the exact same thing happened to me. Now, we might have to cut this out of the podcast. I don't know. I had quite a heavy, I won't say the substance name, substance addiction at a young age off of the back of making money very quickly at a young age. And that wasn't even making anywhere near 10K a month. That was making my first business I had when I was 18. I made a lot of money very quickly, to me at the time, relatively. And I was like, right, this is it. This is like my Jordan Belfort moment. And that, that fueled the addiction that I already had and turned it into a bigger addiction.
Right.
Now you imagine if I had had 10 to 15K, well, life could have had a pretty different direction.
Mm-hmm.
So, like Jeff said, bank for a rainy day, because we've all had fantastic periods in our life and we all know how quickly things can change. Have a support network, which is why we are massive on community. Someone to pull you back, someone to rein you in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, going down another rabbit hole. Just, yes, be careful. We're not saying stay for a rainy day and be, a miserable Margaret and just sit there and watch it in the bank. Absolutely enjoy it. But just if you know you are that sort of person, be careful is what we are saying.
Yeah. Nobody's saying you have to live like a monk, but
Yeah.
live like everything could go to zero next month. So
Yeah.
make sure you stack some cash.
Yeah. Have a 5-year plan, not a 5-minute plan.
Right.
Of cool, I've made a lot of money. Where can I now go and spend it? All right. In 5 years' time, I never want to work again. So I'm going to take 20, 30% of my fund money, which if I did that, I make 10K a month. That's 2 or 3 grand. Can still have a pretty good time on that. The rest of it, when I'm going to put another 20, 30% aside, maybe 50% of it goes towards my living and expenses and things right now. Cool. So I've got my pretty good time, my saving for the future or building my future, plus my day-to-day costs covered. Sounds like a pretty good life to me.
Yeah. 100%, mate.
Yeah. What else? Whenever we're filming these podcasts, it's always in the back of my mind, are we going to be able to use anything that we have recorded? Are we going to listen to it back and just think we have talked absolute rubbish for the last 30 minutes?
Well, probably, but at the end of the day, what I want people to do is see the raw edge of the industry. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like
Of the industry.
I'm the anti-guru.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that it's not a great industry. It doesn't mean you can't make amazing money.
Mm.
But I just want to give the raw side and the real side and the honest side of an industry that is great, and it's afforded both of us, excellent lifestyles, and it's certainly got us out of 9 to 5s and given us location freedom and provided us with things that we definitely couldn't afford before. But at the same time, I think it's really important for people to understand that, for every person you see on Instagram painting it as, you're going to be a multi-millionaire driving around in Porsches, sipping matcha lattes, maybe that's true,
Mhm.
but bear in mind, it is not all sunshine and rainbows. Doesn't mean it's not an amazing industry. Doesn't mean it's not an amazing opportunity, but there's always a yin and a yang to everything, right?
Mm. Yeah. And we can't stress enough the fact that if you do want to get good, I know I've said in this podcast alone that in 30 days you can get good. You do need to throw down like a bandit. We've talked about it before. We both came from sales backgrounds and struggled when we came into the remote high ticket space because it is a different skill set.
Yeah.
When you learn it from the right people, when you have the right support, you can shortcut that and do very well very quickly, and probably with less frustration than me and you did,
Yep.
because we had, careers behind us feeding our egos thinking, well, hang on, I should be crushing. What's going on? If you're new to it, you learn it in the right way, you can, change your life very quickly. And that's what we all want, right? I've never met anyone that if you ask them, do you want time freedom? Do you want location freedom? Do you want financial freedom? No one's going to turn around and say, that sounds fucking horrendous. The fuck are you talking about? I love working for a boss. Well, I'm not saying people can't love working for a boss. There's lots of good teams, good cultures, but having control of your earning, your opportunity, your future, essentially.
Just to be able to have an uncapped earning potential, whether you're in sales or not, just to be able to say, okay, my earnings are completely predicated on how good I am, right? Yes, that's true, but you also need
Institution.
you also need the offer to be good, right? It needs to be a good offer, good marketing,
Yeah.
all the rest of it. But 50% of my earning potential is based on me and how good I am. Well, that's something that I can control 100%. And then even with the flip side of that, when you're talking about, the vehicle that you end up selling for, the business that you end up selling for, you can control that too, because there's 1,001 businesses looking for closers. So if you jump onto an offer and you decide that it isn't what you thought it was initially, jump to another one. That's okay. So now you have complete control over your earning potential, totally uncapped. Doesn't matter. You can make as much as you possibly want within the realms of, within the confines of, okay, the business is delivering this many leads. This is how many calls a day I have on my calendar. If I close at X%, then I can make this much money, right? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But it's just to give people that control. Say, all right, now, I used to, I don't know, maybe I was somebody who worked in Tesco's. I don't know, right? I don't know what they earn, but it's probably not a lot. That's your ceiling. Your only chance up is to try and climb the very greasy, very slippery corporate ladder. And that's the only way you can make more money. Whereas here, you're like, well, if I want to make more money next month, I just need to improve a couple of things. And so long as lead flow stays the same, I'm going to make more money. That, again, for most people, that's freedom. The ability to control, the ability to decide.
Yeah. I think I've just sort of had an idea come to mind, and I think it will round this out quite nicely. Money, time, freedom, those are all, those are all great things to have. We talk about identity all the time, fulfillment, right? Sales can be a massive personal growth vehicle. We've talked about on this podcast some of the calls we've had where we get texts from people thanking us for selling them and taking a lot of money off of them. The fulfillment you get from being able to do that for people, and the power of your intellect, your words, a direct result of the time that you have put into getting to the level where you can do that as a growth vehicle for finding out what you are capable of, is absolutely huge.
Yeah.
And like I said, coming all the way back to, you know, the very start of the episode, it applies to so many different situations in life. Like, you know, your ability just like to communicate with your partner. If you want to have a better relationship, if your relationship has been struggling, sales will probably, I'm not, no, but I'm going to take that back. Sales will help with that. If you've got a distant family member who you know, you want to be able to rebuild a relationship with, sales will help with that. What else?
Helping a friend through a tough time.
Yeah.
Overcoming a difficult scenario.
Yeah.
Landing a job through an interview is like, there's so many areas where an improvement in your communication, which, you know, an improvement in your sales, kind of synergistically one in the same thing. There's so many other areas of your life that impacts.
Yeah.
Nice thought.
Nice thought. What are we going to moan about next week?
I'm sure we'll find something.
I'm sure we will. Right, Jeff, if people want to, you know, maybe see what our faces look like beyond the Spotify screens or wherever they're listening to us, where can they go and find us?
Facebook, Jeff Ketterer, just first name, last name. Instagram, Business Coach Jeff. TikTok, first name, last name. And then if you want to check it out, you can go to school and type in High Ticket Sales Academy, and you can find our training portal on school. How about
For me, somewhere, I don't know. Go and look up Jeff, you'll find me. Close to Josh, Joshua Herford. What else?
Big Boy
Scrubbed in,
Josh? Oh no,
scrubbed into some.
that you probably don't want to send people to that website.
Yeah, scrubbed into some toilet cubicles. Call for a good time. Only on Saturday nights. Business hours 7 till 9.
Right. On that note,
See you on the next one.
take it easy, mate.
Bye for now.